Hey guys, how's it going? People have described it as a melding away and a melting away of the outside world. It's almost like you and your craft become one. It's this idea that you are no longer you. The idea of you is suspended and you are now this craft. Now all your focus, your entire being is in the act of doing this. Now I am a master of seducing women. This is what I focus on. And flow and state is something that a lot of other guys previous to me have always talked about. It's the idea that just like melding away the outside world, forgetting about what other people think about you and just focusing on the moment itself and the interaction, the fun, the flow, the things that you have been pushing for a while. Now, with this, flow is just the absolute focus on a singular task. Your brain is capable of breaking down 110 bits per second, 60 of which are used in breaking down conversations. You listening to me talk right now, your brain's using 60 bits a second to break down this conversation and actually make it into content so you can understand it. This is something I've been mentioning a lot in my previous videos. If you guys want to be able to reach a certain level of flow, you have to learn to cut and blow out the rest of the world. And not even just that, expand your bandwidth, expand the ability to have even more bits, to even better be able to focus. Now, this is what I talk about all the time, and it's a big factor in this. Now, we're gonna not just talk about flow in regards of picking up women, but in everything. In this video, what I'm gonna be talking about is how to consistently get in the zone, how to consistently get there and to get to that place where you know how to get there, you know how to kind of lull yourself to sleep. Now, if I were to explain to anybody what's it like getting into flow, it's kind of like falling backwards. It's not something that you force or you try to, that you can make happen. It's something that you do all the right things. You know how it works. You know how to like relax your brain in a certain way. And what ends up happening? You end up just getting in the zone. Now, over the course of me even talking on this camera, eventually what's gonna happen is all the worries are gonna start melding away. And as the video keeps going, I'm gonna get better and better at talking. I think that flow is, to humans, the same way that digging is to Dobermans. I think we're built to find flow and to find mastery in things. And I think in a world nowadays where everybody is, we're all grabbing all of these different little pieces and stuff. Everybody's so, ADHD nowadays. Nobody can focus on a singular task, and it doesn't help in nowadays society to do that. When you find this, the task at hand is almost effortless. You have this internal happiness, this relaxation. You're not even thinking about it. Now, basketball players explain it like this. I've had a lot of friends who played basketball pretty hardcore, and I remember them talking about this. I remember them talking about playing basketball and them almost just everything falling away. And when they'd be dribbling up the court, they just knew where all their friends were, where all their teammates were. They wouldn't have to look. They could throw the ball knowing where they'd be. It's like the sixth sense. They could feel the court and they knew where their opponents would be. They knew where their teammates would be, and they could just keep up with it all. And everything will just flow away. They're not even them anymore. Now they are the sport. They are basketball. And that's what I want to teach you guys to do. I want to teach you guys to become this. There's even like musicians that you find that they transcend the music. Like a really big person that I always looked at was Prince. Prince gets really in flow sometimes. And that guy, when he gets in the flow state, when he just is really deep in the zone, he makes the music even fucking better. Even though he's playing the same notes that he would have otherwise, the music becomes even more magical. With that being said, let's get into the video.
Yeah, I confess, Father, I confess, 'cause I've been living.
Now, what is it exactly? Now, like I said, it is the blocking out of the outside world. So first and foremost, we're gonna teach you guys how to do that. Now, when you guys are in flow state, you guys don't have anything to worry about. There's not you're not worrying about your bills, about your ex-girlfriend hitting you up. You're not worried about you're not worried about what people are thinking about you while you're even doing it. It's all irrelevant. You are just singularly focused on the task at hand. Now, a lot of people would think that you have to be a master of something to reach flow state. This isn't true. If you're having a hard time reaching flow state at wherever you're at, lower the bar, lower the target. Now, when I teach people how to pick up girls, I tell them stop focusing on all the things you're focusing on. Just focus on the singular task of approaching. That's all that matters. It doesn't matter if the girl responds to you well, it doesn't matter what you say to her. The act of approaching her is where you're at. If you have a hard enough time approaching, you shouldn't be focusing on approaching, holding eye contact, using the right tonality. being funny, being clever, getting the girl into you and maybe taking her home afterwards. That's not what you focus on because that is beyond your current skill set. Even when I first go out, sometimes, like right now, I'm a touch depressed. If I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I'm a little bit depressed and I'm going out after this video. Now, I don't expect my first 2 approaches to go all that great. However, I'm gonna just focus on the approach itself, the action. Now the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, the 7th, the 8th girl that I approach, it goes better and better. The approaching stops being an issue and then I can focus on things that are actually at my skill set level. So now I can find myself in a flow state. Now you guys need to do the same thing. If you guys have an inability to reach flow, it's probably because the bar is too high or the things you're focusing on are not at your skill set yet. You need to lower the bar for what you guys are focusing on and focus on one thing at a time at most. Focus on like something that's just a little bit beyond you. It's not so far above you that you can't attain it, but at the same time, it's not so low to where it's just easy. Now, when you reach like a higher level, like I have in my own craft, a lot of things become automated. So I don't have to worry about stuff. I don't have to usually worry about approaching. I don't have to worry about using eye contact. I don't have to worry about using proper tone. So now I can focus on other things. Maybe I can merge sets. Like I constantly am pushing my skill sets a little beyond what is usually comfortable for me. Now because I'm pushing a little bit beyond, now I have a better chance of getting in flow. It's usually right here at the very edge of this precipice that you guys find this headspace. So whatever you're doing, find the hierarchy concerns. If you're playing basketball and you have a hard enough time maybe dribbling, but you're also trying to worry about, oh, I got to dribble and then I got to get around this guy, then I got to shoot. Focus on the dribbling. Just focus on the dribbling. Focus on dribbling by itself, and this is the one difficult thing for you. Get it out of the way, and you'll find flow state just simply dribbling and playing basketball. Now, put it at just the edge of your skill sets. Make it just hard enough to where you fuck up every so often. Put it right there, and that's where you're gonna find flow. Now with this, you guys need momentum. Now momentum is a huge factor in anything. Now I talk about it a lot in game, in approaching women, like going out consistently makes it a lot easier for you to approach because now you weed out all the bad mindsets that don't help you out. Because I go out every day, because I go out pretty consistently, it makes it a lot easier for me to find myself in the right headspace. Like I don't worry about the little minuscule things that most people worry about. I don't worry about what the girl thinks about me. I don't worry about what I'll think about myself. Like I just weeded it all out. I snipped out all these little mindsets by going out consistently. Now with you need to do whatever your craft is, you need to do it consistently and for a period of time. The more you do it consistently, the more you weed out and get rid of all the negative mindsets that keep you from focusing on the task at hand. You also want to surround yourself with people that are obsessed with the same thing you're obsessed with. Now, if you guys want to find flow and focus in something, you have to be, to some extent, obsessed with it. And you have to find other people around you that will actually do it with you and are also obsessed, that always think about it. By being around these people, it'll make it easier for you to get in flow by itself. Now, the next thing, negative emotions, negative dark emotions are really bad for flow. Now, being stressed out as opposed to relaxed. You need to be relaxed to get into a flow state. If you're going to the club to go approach girls, like a lot of you guys do, a lot of you guys watch my content for that reason, and you guys are like, oh shit, I gotta do this, and you're putting yourselves all in your head. Sometimes I'll have a student just stop, relax, listen to the music. Let him have some fun. When I see his stress levels are getting high. If your stress is really high, get rid of it. Now, the anger, intensity and anger are different. Anger, if you're finding yourself angry, it's tough to stay focused on the task at hand. Now, if you're stressed, stress lowers willpower. It makes it tougher to focus on the task at hand because when you're stressed out, memories are state accessed. You're more likely to go off on tangents and think about other things that are irrelevant to what you're doing at the moment. And it pulls away that 110 bits of information a second away from your focus. Get rid of it. Now, if you guys are more intuitive like I am, meditation will help you out immensely with finding flow. Learn to meditate. Now, this is why a lot of guys in the pickup community do this. Because if you're talking to a girl and you're worrying about all this different shit that is so irrelevant to actually focusing on, how are you gonna fucking find flow? However, if you meditate a lot, you find yourself being able to block out stupid shit a lot easier. So if you're intuitive, focus on meditation. Now, on the other side of things, if you're a sensor, sensors, you guys look at us intuitives, you think we're airy. The reason being is because you guys have no ability to visualize. You can, but not as well as an intuitive can, and not as often. It's not your main form of processing information. So with you need to focus on visualization instead. Visualize getting in the zone and getting into a flow state. Now, both of these will help you out regardless, but if you want somewhere to lean, one of these two is gonna help you out more than the other one will. Visualization still helps me out quite a bit. I still do it a lot, but meditation is more important for me to do specifically. Now, because you're also using momentum, the actions you're taking, it forces your ego to have to align with the action. So if you're somebody that goes out a lot and approaches women, it's gonna hurt at first because it goes against your ego because you're gonna get rejected maybe. Or maybe you get a girl's phone number and then she doesn't hit you back. Or maybe you bounce out of a set too early because you're afraid of sticking around because now you got that positive feedback. Now you lose the girl completely because you auto-rejected because you're afraid of losing that hit for your ego. And if you stick around, it's going to hurt your ego. The hurting of your ego is good. The reason being is because now that your ego is getting hurt, now you have to figure out a way to figure it out because your ego is not going to allow yourself to keep having ego deaths. It's going to have to find a character that's going to have to align with your actions. So you're playing basketball. It's like, all right, we're playing basketball every day. There's a lot of acts and actions that go into this. So now your ego's like, well, what's the character that backs up the actions? Now, because you have this character involved, flow will be a lot easier for you to find. Now, if you also want to find flow, flow is like falling backwards. It's not forced. Like we said, stress is bad for finding flow. And oftentimes, what are people doing? If you're focusing on the act of flow and you're trying to force it, it won't come because you're stressing yourself out. You're trying to break through this fucking wall. And trying to break through this wall is not conducive to actually getting there. So what I find is like the best way to get in the flow is believe that flow doesn't exist and take the actions, the proper actions to get yourself there.
Things just slow down. You know, everything slows down. You just have supreme confidence. But when that happens, you know, you really do not try to focus on what's going on because you can lose it in a second. Everything becomes one noise. You know, it's not. You don't hear this or that. Everything's just one noise. And you're not paying attention to one or the other. You just stand right there. You have to really try to stay in the present, not let anything break that rhythm.
So if you're focusing on, I got to get in state, I got to get there, I got to make it into the state, then you're not going to get there because you're stressing yourself out. The more you focus on it, the more you focus on state instead of the action itself. Again, the 110 bits is going into that other area. The way you get in a state is not by focusing on state. You focus on what you're doing at the task at hand. Then you block everything else out. If you're taking this line of energy, this mental bandwidth, and you're breaking it up into different pieces, it's a lot tougher to get there. However, if you keep cutting things out, blocking it out, and you have all of your power going right here, that's flow, that's state. This is why you see people breaking their egos. Like there's guys that will do what's called sacrificing the lamb. You go and approach and you get yourself rejected, so you stop caring about rejection. Now that you stop caring about rejection, now it's one more little thing, a little strand off this little 110 bits that now goes right back into actually focusing on the task at hand. This is why this is why you have such things as micromomentum. Micromomentum exists because you're taking all these like random strands and you're pulling them all into the singular focus. This is how really advanced guys get in the zone. You do it like this. You push yourself in different ways to get rid of all these extra strands so that all of your mental energy is into the task at hand. Now set up your life in a way so you don't have a lot of extra stresses. Now we talked a lot about having the mental fortitude to cut out all these extra areas, meditation, blah, blah, blah. But if you have a problem with paying your bills on time, if you're worrying constantly about your exes, if you're worrying about what people are thinking of you, stuff like that, maybe you don't have a lot of money in your bank account, you're worrying about that. If you just fix these problems, if you pay your bills on time, if you make more money, if you have like a plethora of women that are into you, how much easier is it to stay focused when your life's just in place, when everything's just perfect? A lot fucking easier. So for this reason alone, you need to make your life around you kind of stress-free, fun, relaxed. You need to make it perfect for you. You need to get, like, what I did for myself was that I wrote down a list of everything that stressed me out and I just got rid of them. Or I made a habit that fixed the problem. This is the exact same thing you guys need to do yourselves. Write a list out, what stresses you out, and then get the fuck rid of them. Find a way maybe to change your mentalities or change your habits so it's no longer an issue. Now, a big factor in getting in the zone too is the confidence. The confidence, like I have so much self-confidence in what I did because I have momentum, because I have a lot of things backing me up saying that I'm really good at this. And I have a lot of experience of getting in the zone. So when I go out, I assume I'm gonna get there. I assume I'm gonna get into the zone. And this assumption that I'm just gonna find flow state, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You need to start having little wins. So whatever you're doing, like if it's playing music, if it's programming, you need to start acquiring little wins. You need to have little wins that back up this character and this ego that tells you that you're really fucking good at this. Now, like I said, at any level, you can find flow, but if you have this confidence, it's a lot easier to find it too. Like when I go out tonight, despite me being sad and depressed, I'm still gonna find it. I know it's gonna come, like the same way with this video. I knew that this would come. My flow state, my verbals would come no matter what the fuck I did. Now because I have this assumptiveness, it just comes about. Build the confidence, build yourself those little wins, those little victories. Chase it down, and as you get these little victories, your confidence will grow. Then from there, it's a lot easier to find this. Outside of my craft, I also do a lot of things to increase the bandwidth. Now, what do? Eat clean. When you eat clean, your brain goes a lot faster and you have a lot more focus to put into things. Sleep well. When I don't sleep a lot, it's a lot harder for me to control my emotions. And it's also sleep helps out a lot with mastery. A lot of people really look over this factor. When you're working really hard to build up a skill set somewhere and you don't sleep enough, your brain doesn't have enough time to really break it down when you're sleeping. When you sleep, your brain is breaking down all these little pieces that you have, all these little increments, and it's making it to where it's like a lot easier for you to find flow. Because if you have so much bandwidth, if your bandwidth's a lot more than other people, it's a lot easier to find this. Also learn to love yourself. When you love yourself and you're nice to yourself, like when you make a mistake doing something, you're a lot less likely to beat yourself up over it. When you beat yourself up over it, when you're trying to find flow and you're like, oh fuck, I fucked up there. Oh no, I suck. Oh no, I'm terrible. And you're saying all this little internal dialogue, again, more little strings are coming off this little fucking focus thing. So learn to love yourself, because the more you love yourself and the less you beat yourself up in and out when you're doing your craft, the easier it is to just stay aligned with this shit. Whatever your craft is, it's supposed to be fun and it's supposed to be relaxing. It's not you constantly stressing out, beating yourself up. It doesn't make you a better person to do this. If you find yourself doing your craft, beating yourself up, being so hard on yourself, you're not doing it correctly. The idea is fun and relaxation. Fun and relaxation. It's not stress, it's not hard work, it's fun. You get to do this. Everybody constantly, whenever they're talking about how successful they are, they want to talk about how hard they pushed and how you're a fucking pussy because you can't work hard enough. How easy is it to work really hard when you love what you're doing? Like, people will preach to you left and right about how you need to work your ass off, about how you need to just really hustle. And then by hustling, you're gonna find this yourself. No, don't do that. That's not the proper way to do this. The proper way is to find the fun and the excitement, that magical sense, that like fairy tale kind of moment in the craft itself where you love this so fucking much. That's what you need to find. If you want flow consistently, that's the personality of somebody like this. Now, like I said, you're gonna have your various levels of mastering this, and you do need momentum to find the flow. You do need it to a certain extent. As you keep practicing though, a lot of the stuff you keep practicing needs to start becoming autopilot. If you guys see me out talking to girls, it's generally 95% of everything I'm doing is on autopilot. I just know what to do. It's not like I'm like thinking all these hundreds of different things I need to do, because you guys know all this pickup content. You guys are like, oh shit, a lot of these advanced pickup guys are doing all these hundreds of things all at the same time. It's not like we're thinking that. I'm not that fucking intelligent. What it is just habits that I built over a period of time. I just know when I see a girl look a certain way or do something, what she's thinking, because I've just seen it so many times. And it's just like autopilot. It's just like, I remember when I fucked up, I remember when I did good, and I just have the reference experience telling me like what I'm supposed to do. And you're not gonna get that. Like, honestly, you focusing on a dozen different things is gonna take away from your focus. Focus on one thing at a time. If you don't have like the fortitude or the habits built up yet, build the habits. Build them one at a time. Because as you keep building one at a time, they're gonna keep stacking and stacking and stacking like bricks in a castle. And eventually you're gonna have yourself a palace. Last but not least, stop worrying about what everybody thinks about you. This takes a lot more time, but the more you worry about how you look, about how cool you look, about what your image is to the outside world, the less focus and the less bandwidth and the less bits you have to focus on your task, on your craft. So you need to like get rid of that. Stop worrying about what other people think. Stop worrying about your ex. Stop worrying about your image or what people are gonna think of you, because the people that you need are gonna come around regardless. If you take the time to, and you worry way too fucking much about others, what's gonna happen? You're never gonna find your flow state, because you're gonna be worrying about so much about everybody else. You're never gonna have the mental ability or energy to actually focus on one thing. So for a lot of you guys, like I said, meditation is probably something you need to do. Worrying about what other people think is also very human of us, but you need to learn to make that a lot quieter. The way you make it a lot quieter is that you go through a lot of bullshit. Now, by chasing a mastery, you will go through that bullshit and you will teach yourself not to give a fuck. But you need, focus is the water that wears the stone. The more you focus on this and you know this is an issue and you know this is stopping you from finding that state, the more it's gonna eradicate and the more it's gonna fade away. I still do care what you guys think, but I care a lot less than when I first started this YouTube channel. And now, because I care a lot less, now when I'm on camera, I can find myself in the fucking zone every fucking time. And that's what you guys need to do too. You guys need to be able to stop giving a fuck what other people think about you, because when you do, it pulls away from this love, from this fucking passionate thing you're doing. You need to be able to get yourself there every fucking time. And the only way you can do that is to stop caring what I think, what other people think, and just be you. All right, guys, and with that being said, peace out.
I could teach these youngins how to hang. Focus on the business of the game, and I put it on my chain. You ain't ever seen no one the same. Me and mine a couple strange things. Boy, I run the gang. I could teach these youngins how to hang. Focus on the business of the game, and I put it on my chain. You ain't ever seen no one the same. Me and mine a couple strange